Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our May Solano Fire Safe Council community meeting. We do have a special guest, Annie Barber. She is with United Policyholders. So we have a presentation from her, and we'll go through our updates after the presentation and questions. Annie, I will share your PowerPoint now.
Thank you very much.
Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. The
Okay,
floor is
so
yours, Annie.
this is my boss's deck. So she named it the California Insurance Quagmire, which I think is appropriate right now. A little bit about myself. I've been working for UP for about 3.5, almost 4 years. And you can advance it, it's okay. But I'm also a Tubbs fire survivor from Santa Rosa, from Coffee Park. And so I got a lot of real on the ground experience in the recovery process. We heard absolutely everything that people went through and what they went through trying to get back home. And so I do these presentations just a little bit different because I do it as a consumer as opposed to a lawyer. So a little bit about UP. We've been around for 33 years, since the Oakland Hill fires. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. And we've been in this space for quite some time. In 2017, there was only 5 employees. Now we have 15, and you know why. Supply and demand. We do not take any money from insurance companies. We solely survive on grants and donations. Next. So the bottom line, and I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit, is that our insurance is a mess. It's a hot mess, as you all know. State Farm was in my book, our last case insurer before the California FAIR Plan. It was imperative that people in rural communities get insurance that wasn't the FAIR Plan because they could afford it. Now, State Farm was not the best at resolving claims or insuring people properly, but at least people could get insurance. And now that they're non-renewing a lot of people, it's become very problematic. It's put a lot of strain on the California FAIR Plan. If you find yourself non-renewed, please make sure you get started on the FAIR Plan quickly. You don't have to take it. You can have a broker. They can try to navigate all that for you. But this is the biggest message today, and I'll probably say it 3 times. FAIR Plan's getting 1,000 applications a day, and you don't want to go bare. So we just want to make sure that people it's taking anywhere from, I've heard a couple of our agents that we check in with say that they've gotten it in 5 days or 30 days. And others have said it's taken 75 to 90 days to get a FAIR Plan in place. So as we know, they're non-renewing the California FAIR Plan, and surplus lines, non-admitted, are coming into play more. The biggest part about this is that we just need to hang in there until they can work things out. And I'm hoping like hell they can in a timely fashion. So the insurance commissioner has a program called the Sustainable Insurance Strategy, which is focused on regulatory reforms. And what that's supposed to do is bring the insurers back in and take some of the pressure off the California FAIR Plan. But there will be a price to pay for all of that. Next slide. I like that look on your face. So, the risk, the underlying causes, we don't even need this, right? Inflation's crazy. You go to the grocery store, everything's a lot more expensive now. We have climate change, and we have catastrophic events on a regular basis. It's no longer just California or Florida. It's almost every state has had issues with insurance and catastrophic loss that is making it really hard for insurers to write policy. So Amy's job, she's a lawyer. Her job is to advocate. All the rest of us, we come out and talk to people like you. We sit on the long-term recovery groups. We help people with preparedness in whatever way we can. But basically, all these groups are coming together at a high level, and they're trying to figure out how they can help the California insurance market. So this is the Ricardo Laura's Sustainable Insurance Strategy. There's a link there for that. You can also just go on the California Department of Insurance website and you'll see it there. State Farm, non-renewing existing policies, 70,000. 30,000 were homeowners and 42,000 were condos, townhouses, and apartments. California Fair Plan is getting 1,000 applications a day. And Governor Newsom actually, he filed for a state of emergency, declared a state of emergency and said, we have to expedite the rate reviews. We have to hurry up and make sure people can be insured. So that's kind of the crux of where we are. So some things that you can do to bring your policy pricing down. If you're non-renewed by someone, take your whole package somewhere else, get the discounts from bundling, work with a proactive insurance agent or broker, understand that an agent can only utilize the companies that they are umbrellaed under. And some companies are actually letting them dive further into surplus markets because they don't want to lose all of their agents. But brokers have about the ability to access about 80% of the market. So that would be your best bet to start with. You want to raise your deductible. I used to tell people that they wanted to look at their own finances and decide from there what they should raise their deductible to. Now I'm telling people that the way I look at it is my insurance is for catastrophic loss. And I just raised my deductible to 10,000. Save money on my premium. I hope I don't have small claims because if I turn them in, undoubtedly I will be non-renewed. If you have a deductible that's a percentage, which we don't see a lot on, but do the math and see what it computes out to and whether you can afford to raise it. Hardening your home is going to be a huge deal. It used to be that if you harden your home, you could become a FireWise community. If you hardened your home, you might be able to get a discount from your insurer. Now it appears that they're requiring you to harden your home to retain or to get insurance. Don't file any small claims if you can. There's a lot of things that insurance companies are now requiring. I know Farmers is they have a new policy, you have to have a automatic water shutoff valve, a sensor. You have to have the same with your gas so that if you're not home, your house doesn't get flooded. They're going to keep adding things, I believe, as we go along to cut their risk. So this is kind of a goofy slide, quite frankly. Why did you get non-renewed? I mean, people with State Farm, they got non-renewed because State Farm doesn't want the risk, right? Some people, though, are actually getting an inspection and they're using satellite and drones to look over the top of your houses. And they're determining whether you have trees that are encroaching your roof. They're seeing that you've deferred maintenance and you need a new roof. And all of that is problematic. So when they first started this, they would send out notices. And I mean, across the board, we were hearing from that all of them were that you need to get a new roof. You have a 75-day notice to get a new roof. Lately, it's been you have 7 to 10 days to get a new roof because they know darn well you can't get a new roof in 7 to 10 days. So if you have some of these issues, if you have things behind your fence that they are going to consider flammable or debris, they're now looking there. So recognize that and do what you can to keep those things at bay so they can't call you out on them. So we do have on our website, we have a dropped by your home insurer tips and such, but really the minute you get that 75-day notice, you need to start shopping right then and there. Grab a broker or a really good agent. The FAIR plan is going to come into play. If they can't find you insurance in about 3 days, you need to start the process because you don't want to go bare, as I said before. And it's taking quite a while on a lot of these plans to get them in place. And be prepared to do risk reduction. I was just talking to someone today who thought their house was in really great shape and had survived the Tubbs fire. The firefighters actually staged at their property and they're up in Wickiup. They thought, well, the trees are all limbed up. Their son does a great job. The gutters are always clean. But they actually, as he's searching for new insurance, they're requiring him to do all of these things. And we have a list, but just know that if you start now, it will be easier. And if you start now, hopefully those embers won't get under, and into your chimneys, all of those wonderful things that means you wouldn't have a chance in the world. So we have 4 kinds of insurance. We have the admitted, which is the licensed. We have the non-admitted or surplus line. We have the FAIR plan and the CEA, which is the CEA is the for earthquakes. And we have a forced lender place. I'm going to start with the forced lender place. We are finding people that have received a notice from their insurer or from their mortgage company saying that they did not supply insurance. So they put, and you're okay. So they put right there, they put insurance on their house. And it's a really vague letter. And then at the bottom, there's a bunch of gobbledygook in the middle. And at the bottom, it says, you should look for insurance because you'll find some cheaper and that will cover more. A forced lender place insurance is only for the lender. It will only cover the amount of the mortgage. It won't give you loss of use. It won't give you any equity in your home, nor will it cover your contents. So be very aware that if you get that letter, that you have to find another plan. It's kind of like playing Russian roulette with your future. So the admitted carriers are what we're used to, right? Farmers, State Farm, Allstate. They are backed by the Department of Insurance. They are, if they were to go belly up, you would get up to $500,000. They are regulated. Their pricing is regulated. If they do not come to the terms of their contract and you have a issue in your claims, they'll back you up and they'll push the insurance company to make it right for you. The non-admitted have very little oversight from the insurance department. They do not have a safety net. And they're a little bit of a crapshoot, but a lot of brokers and agents are selling from that line. And there's a way to at least make sure that you know what the financial rating is on that and whether it's a safe bet. And if you have a broker or an agent who puts you into a non-admitted, be proactive and make sure you check on that every 3 months to make sure that they're still lucrative. Because the first sign that their ratings have gone down, you really want to jump to the California Fair Plan. Thank you. So if you're on the California Fair Plan, it's actually 2 plans that you need to get. Fair Plan out of the box is very bare bones. It's not comprehensive like what you're used to getting, where it's code upgrades and loss of use. You have to like pick and choose what you want. And some of that's good and some of it's bad. It's bad if you don't know that that's the way it is and you leave things out. It's good in the sense that you can fine tune it, because it is expensive, to what your needs are. You need to pair that with a difference in conditions policy. It's called a DIC, and it covers water damage, theft, liability. If you have an umbrella policy and you do not get liability on your house, there'll be a clause in your umbrella policy that says it won't kick in until you hit 500,000 or $1 million. So you want to coordinate the 2 of them. Your difference in condition policy can be written by any admitted broker or agency, as can the Fair Plan. So this is the kind of stuff that you have to add on, and you have to recognize how important it is to add it on. Replacement cost coverage, it won't come with that. You want to have some replacement cost in there. Fair rental value, it's another word for loss of use, or ALE, code upgrade coverage, debris removal. Anybody who's already been through a fire knows that debris removal, if it's not a declared disaster, can be very expensive. And other structures. So you want to ask the questions. You want your agent or broker, you want to spend some time with them. You want to make them your friend, and you want to understand exactly what you're buying. So this slide here alone is going to be your best friend during this really chaotic process. You can go on consumers.ambest.com and you can check the financial standing of an insurance company. They go from A++ to A+ to A to B++, yada, yada. Or if you're not comfortable on the computer, you can call them. You can check a surplus line insurer of the approved ones on www.insurance.ca.gov. It's really important that you do your homework. And these links, I use them all the time to try to guide people. So, the problem with risk scores is that, first of all, we don't understand them. They use 3 or 4 different models. My home in Coffee Park, after my fire, up until this last year, had a 0 fire score. Doesn't make any sense, does it? Now they have me down as a 3, so they finally updated it 6.5 years later. Some of them will have a negative number, some will have a positive 64. I mean, trying to understand it is very difficult. But what you want to do is to make sure that that is actually attached to your house. So, do they have the right address on your policy? We've had people who do not have the right address. Do they have the right square footage? Is all of your personal information correct? Because they may be putting a risk score on you that doesn't belong on you. And as we've talked about the aerial views that they're getting, if they say that they've seen something, they're not legally required to share those pictures with you, but please ask. They have been known to take pictures of the wrong house. And so it's really important that you can appeal your risk score, but we have not found that there's much success in that. Maybe as we get a little more information and we have more control over what they're actually counting as a risk, that it may become a little bit more impactful for us. We're working very hard on availability and affordability. So unfortunately, availability has to come before affordability, because if it's affordable but we can't get it, it's irrelevant, right? So this is basically what the Department of Insurance is working on, the availability part. If we don't have availability, we're all going to be on the California Fair Plan. The California Fair Plan will go bust, and then we have to create a new insurance world. So Governor Newsom has lit a fire under him, and hoping that it has some effect quickly. So the next slide would be where you can actually, so first you go to your insurer to appeal your fire score. And then if you don't get satisfaction, you can go to the Department of Insurance and file a complaint through them. And I think that everybody should do it if they feel like it's not been processed properly. We're not expecting a lot yet. This is a brand new program, but the more people that utilize it, the better it will become. So we all have talked about home hardening until we're almost sick of it, I'm sure. But, you know, your standard Class A roof, screens to keep embers out. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be Volcon vents. You can get 1/8 inch wire mesh. Do not go less than that, because then you'll get mold under your house, and you will actually cause a trap for leaves and such that will cause the embers to actually catch hold. Gutters, you know, you're 5 feet around your house, combustible material under your decks, prune branches. That's probably the most expensive part of this, is the trees. And so just do your best to keep the branches from being over the top of your roof. You want to make sure that as I was talking to someone about this today, they said, well, from one angle, my son took his drone up there and you could totally see that the roof is completely clear. But when he got the drone off to the side, it looked like there was still branches over it. So cut it back as much as you can. Another one that's kind of problematic is the metal fencing or the metal gates to your house. We haven't found a economic solution to that. Metal gates are expensive. They also don't necessarily offer privacy. If there's someone on this call who wants to make a lot of money, come up with an affordable solution for people on this topic, because it's a big one. And in Coffee Park, we watched the fences go right to the house. We watched them be wicks. And yet we all have wooden fences because of the price of well, I shouldn't say that. We all have wooden fences because they hadn't come up with all these standards yet. And then the added cost as people just scrambled to try to get home has been a bit of a challenge. So I don't know. I know that David knows about the IBHS, so a few others of you may know also, but it is an institute in North Carolina, and I believe it's every 12-year-old and up male's favorite dream job. They build things to demolish them. So they are doing work constantly on throwing embers at homes, hurricane force winds, seeing how hail works and at what level, and coming up with guidelines for all of us as to what's the most effective way to secure your home. So your home can be threatened with the embers, which with our wind patterns has been huge with our big fires. Radiant heat, which basically means that, you know, the house next door gets so hot and it's on fire that it makes your house go up in flames, or direct flame contact. 60 to 90% of home loss is due to embers. So that is the biggest part of what you're trying to combat. Wildfire prepared homes. So there's different discounts you can get, quote unquote, from insurance companies. We're not seeing them across the board, and we're not seeing them amount to a whole lot. For the California Fair Plan, they actually are enforcing a 10% for home hardening and 5% for vegetation hardening. Unfortunately, I don't know how they do their math in that department, but you can only get 14.5% total. The other companies are waiting for approvals on increases and such, and so they have not had to enforce it. But again, this is much more about saving your home, protecting your home, and being able to get insurance. You can go to, there's one, I don't know if there's one in Napa, but I know that Madronas Mitigation Company can actually come, and I think it's $150. They come and they check your house for IBHS standards, and they will give you a certificate. And then I believe that certificate lasts for 3 years. And every year, though, you have to go and take pictures all the way around your house before you actually have to have another physical inspection. You have to take pictures and send it to them that you're still in compliance. So this is what the certificate looks like. We're all going to need one of those one day, I firmly believe. And some people are just not going to be able to get it. They're going to have too many trees. They're going to have a slope that will, a valley. They will have just too many factors. You know, as we all know, fire goes uphill. I think that people will start putting in stone walls. You know, they're going to fortify their house. Which way does the wind come? What's the wind patterns? Which side of the house do we have to protect from the embers? So we do have something called a RAP group. We get together once a month and we have a meeting, and we have a lot of different experts, insurance agents, fire chiefs that sit in on that. But we were given a grant from Cal OES to branch out on our website on this, and these fire chiefs now go into our website and they add the things that they've done in certain areas, what's been effective, what hasn't, grants that they've been able to get. So you can go on there and you can easily steal grants. Oh, this worked here, as opposed to trying to frantically keep up on what's available, what's not available, what has too many restrictions. So this is a good one for anybody who works in a fire safe council. If you're trying to create a firewise community, or fire marshals, Cal OES, or OES departments. So I already went over this one. The California Fair Plan discounts are 10% for hardened home and 5% for defensible. But again, for some reason, it only adds up to 14.5% total. That's the maximum you can get. And we all know how we have to qualify. You have to have the double pane windows. You have to have the enclosed eaves. You know, you have to have that 6 inches at the bottom of your house where you have cement on your foundation, so that it's not wood to the ground. Class A roof. That's what will get you your 10% discount for the California Fair Plan. And then the wildfire hardening, we all know what that looks like too. We're now at the point where that list is pretty well known. So this is problematic. Installment payments used to be an option. They are no longer an option with non-admitted carriers. Admitted carriers, some will allow you to do it and some will break it into 2 chunks of 6 months, but the days of month to month are gone. And so you just need to recognize that there could be a challenge there and be ready for that. So no matter what we see time and time again is the underinsurance issue after a loss, whether it's catastrophic loss or a one-off. People in Colorado were actually about 2/3 underinsured. They had 300 to 350,000 for their dwelling, and their rebuilds were on average 8 to $1 million. Don't be underinsured on the dwelling. You need to divide it out by how many square feet you have to find out what you would have a square foot. There is no perfect answer. It will completely depend on what kind of fire you have, where you live, what the landscape around you is, whether you're on a hill, whether a production builder can come in and build with economy of scale, whether you can get together with 15 neighbors and have someone come in and do economy of scale. It's a very difficult thing. In 2017, my house with 1,500 square foot, I was able to use a production builder, and my cost was $411,000. I now am insured for double that. Because my house is paid off, so it is my most valuable commodity. It's my retirement and it's my safety net. 2, because I now know that if I had to have a custom build, that would have taken me right out of my ability to just stay within the insurance that I had. I would have ended up having to put a new mortgage on my house and start from scratch. So we do have this on our website. This gentleman who, for a $150 fee, says that he will come out and he will do an estimate on what you need in your insurance. I don't think it's a bad thing to do by any means. You know, we have houses being built all over Santa Rosa, Sonoma County, and I know that all of those are getting economy of scale. And I know their price per square foot is up there quite a bit. So I don't think, you know, for someone to come out for $150, kind of see where you live, what the challenges may be for a builder, it might benefit you. And we're not promoting him. It's just another tool in the toolbox. So there's a lot of things going on with the sustainable insurance strategy from the Department of Insurance. I'll be brutally honest with you, until it starts getting spread about and it comes into effect more and we see some movement, I'm not sure what it looks like. I would like to say that's going to be our solution in a nutshell. I think it's going to take more than that. And but the general premise is that it's going to allow people to get insurance again because insurers will want to write policies here. And you and I all know that if they're going to come back into our market, it's going to be much more expensive. We are the only state that does not allow CAT modeling, catastrophic modeling. We can only go off historical modeling. That they will have to give that. We are the only state that has a limit on how much they can raise their rates without getting stuck into a 1 to 2 year review process. And we are the only state that, or we are one of 2 states that does not allow them to pass on reinsurance costs. So as these programs come into play, unfortunately, the pricing will go up, and the people that will be hit the hardest, in my opinion, will be the people who live in the rural communities, as always. They say that as it develops more and more, that it will start bringing those prices back down. But, once prices go up, it's pretty hard to bring them back down. And I'm just a realist, okay? I don't have an 8-ball or any of that kind of stuff. When have you seen them reduce the prices on milk? Bread. So this says be prepared, not scared. I'm sure most of you are a little scared by what's going on in your communities, with insurance, with the high rate of catastrophic losses that we've had, especially in our communities. So you need to spend some time to get educated. You need to try to avoid underinsuring your dwelling. In 2017, we were underinsured, but not grossly underinsured. So we were able to take some of our contents money and come back. There has not been a fire since then that it has had an easy time with that. It's been more and more challenging as we go along. So make sure you have building code upgrades or law or ordinance in your policy. It's not required in all policies. That takes your home from the year it was built to when you rebuild it. All of those California state codes. My home was a 1970s tract home, 1,500 square feet. My code upgrades were $68,000. And now I believe it would be about 100,000 because solar is required, electric cars required, and they take different components. So, your insulation has to be better. Your windows have to be better. So it takes a bite out of all those costs. But if you don't have that insurance, it comes right out of your pocket. It can't come out of any other bucket. If you have the kind of insurance that they will let you reduce coverage on certain buckets, and you're comfortable with that, the price of homes right now, the amount of coverage to rebuild is really high. And since they do generally like a 75-80% for your contents on the value, what you have in your dwelling A coverage to rebuild your home, the contents level may be way too high. You may never reach that. So if they will let you adjust that to a rate that you think is comfortable, then you should do that. But just understand that when you do that, you want to shop it. You want to say, okay, so if I reduce it to here, how much does that lower my premium? If I reduce it to here, how much? Don't think that they're going to give you one option and that you have to just say, okay. It's just like with your deductible. Give them a call. Say, I want to know how much a $2,500 deductible, a $5,000 deductible, and a $10,000 deductible. What my rates, what that will do to my rates. Make sure it's worth your while to raise it. And if it's not, don't do it. We all know, I don't know how many people on this call have done it, but a home inventory with your phone. We don't live in model houses. You have to pick that crap up off the floor, open boxes. You have to open all your cupboards and all your drawers. And that's not for the insurance company. That's for you. And the way I look at that now, having had to make that list, I'm doing it so that I can hand it to my son to make that list from the videos. If you have unique items or antiques, make sure you get really good pictures, because those are items that can't be depreciated. So you're going to want those pictures to be good enough that you could take them to an antique dealer. They could give you an estimate and you get full value. Being a fire-wise, fire-safe community, which I know you guys have that one wrapped up, is huge. And, we need to get back to raising the barn, right? We need to do with our communities. We need to recognize who has strengths, weaknesses, tools, and help each other out. So you may have an elderly person in your community or disabled that can't do things. But I bet he or she could make you some sandwiches and cookies, and you could go over and do the work on their house, and someone else can come and do the screening on your house, or they may have a tractor that can, keep things at bay. Whatever that looks like, we really need to work together on all of this, because the more hardening we do, the safer the whole community will be. So what we found, I sit on all the long-term recovery groups. Your average FEMA payout is $5,000. The maximum you can get is $42,000. Neither one is going to get you back home. SBA loans, they're low interest, but they still have to be repaid. And charitable aid generally goes to the basic needs or the immediate needs of a community. So just as an example, Coffee Park was a mortgaged community with insurance. We had, by the 3.5-year point, we had 99% recovered. We had production builders who could come in and buy lots. It was still affordable for them to do that. It didn't cost more to build a house than it did to sell it. You could get appraisals in the Campfire Paradise. They had to take a bunch of homes off of the market because they couldn't appraise for as high as they needed to sell for the seller to make a profit or even to break even. So we have to understand what the market is out there. Lack of insurance. Paradise has the best long-term recovery group ever. It has nothing to do with their heart, the kind of effort and emotion and community that they've put into their rebuild. The lack of insurance has them at 30% recovered. 30%. And they're not expecting more. They're feeling like anybody who comes in is going to buy a spec home, and it's going to be because they want to live in the community. So that's the difference between having insurance and not having it, unfortunately. And I'm going to add to this that if you have friends, family, we all have nieces, nephews, grandkids, whatever, and they don't have renter's insurance, it's an amazing Christmas gift, birthday gift. It can be as cheap as $11 a month. You want to get as much loss of use as you can, because if they get evacuated, it will pay for their hotel room. It'll pay for their food up to that limit that they have. In the big picture, in the long-term recovery groups, we drive up to DR disaster resource centers, and there's people living in their cars, in tents, in driveways, wherever they can manage. If those people had renter's insurance, they would have to make the list of their contents because that's what they're going to get paid on. But when they got that money, they'd have enough for first and a deposit on getting into another place, and then other entities can come in and help them. But not having them on the street is huge. So I put that out there in all of my presentations just because I think that it's an educational piece that a lot of our young people don't know about. So we do have a California home survey that we would love for everybody to take. It doesn't take very long, but it lets us know, it's ongoing. It lets us know where we're at, what the challenges are of communities and individuals, so that we can find answers for you, try to get solutions. So I'd really appreciate that. And then I'd like to just, we can turn the slide deck off. I would like to do two things. I want to get some questions from you guys, but I also want to tell you that there's some things that I really promote that it's very quick. Please put 5 phone numbers on a piece of paper, one being out of the area, and put them in an envelope in your car. There is absolutely no guarantee you're going to run out the door with your phone, and we don't memorize phone numbers anymore. My biggest fear would be if I couldn't call my son and he came in to make sure I was okay, right? That scares me. Put a lockbox on your house. Instead of having one neighbor have a key, lockboxes on Amazon are $25 to $30. If you have pets, if you have children at home after school who don't drive, if you have elderly, I don't know about you, but a lot of our youth wear headphones everywhere. They may not hear the phone, they may not hear the door. That lockbox will enable anybody that you can get a hold of to go over there and open that door and get them out. Take a picture of your prescription drugs. Make sure you have the whole label. We all have them in our go bags, but if you're not home for that evacuation, you don't have them. In most cases, you can take that to a pharmacy and they will give you a 5-day emergency fill. And that gives you the breathing room to find some place to stay, to email your doctor and get that prescription redone. Cash in a drawer or in a hidden book or in a false beer can, whatever it is, have some. The biggest thing when I went into Maui was that, you know, their internet was down. They couldn't use their credit cards. They couldn't use their debit cards. You will need gas. You will need food. Worst case scenario, you can sleep in your car, but if that's not something you're going to want to do, make sure you have enough for 3 to 5 days of a hotel. The Maui took a long time before the internet came back. I don't think we're going to have that kind of a problem, but I could be wrong. And last but not least, we lost 5 people in Coffee Park. Now, bear in mind that we had 1,440 homes that were lost in that fire just in our neighborhood. The reason we didn't have more was because we knew our neighbors. People were knocking on each other's doors. They were, calling each other. They were doing everything they could. And that was with a minute amount of time. And you have to recognize, that fire jumped that freeway that they thought was going to act as a natural fire break. I got the nixle because my little dog had woken me up. And that's why I put it on my phone. I had basically 5 minutes. And I took about 3 minutes to get out and bang on a couple doors. 2 people called me and I left. My neighbor left 2 minutes after me and the back bumper of her car was melted. You don't have time. So you need to make sure you have overlap. Who's going to take care of who? Who's going to be your connection? Who's going to check on who? Who would need help getting out? All of those things are imperative. We did not see a fire truck. We didn't see a police officer. I heard that not long after I left, so within 30 seconds or a minute, there was a sheriff's officer going through, yelling into his speaker, trying to broadcast that everybody needed to evacuate. But the winds were such that his words were just being tossed around. So that's the real life component to this. And if there's something that you want to get out of your house when you're fleeing, you need to think of it now, because when you get that call, you'll either stand there frozen or you won't get anything. And both can be detrimental. But the biggest thing is that night I got my purse, I got my dog, her leash, and I got out. If you're trying to get clothes, grab your dirty clothes basket. Those are the clothes you like and the clothes you wear. And I need to plug in before I lose you guys. But that's the end of my presentation. For anybody who has any questions, feel free.
Thank you, Annie. I know we're coming up on some time here, but anyone have any questions, please raise your hand or feel free to speak out. Annie will be here. Annie, can you please put I apologize, I should have said this earlier.
No problem.
Your contact information in the chat so everyone can have that documented, please? Thank you.
Yeah, and if you think of questions later on, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you. Leanne, you have your hand raised? Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much. Your presentation was the best one I have heard in a long time. And in fact, from two other United policyholder representatives who spoke at other organization meetings.
Thank
You
you.
were very
Because
thorough.
I'm a survivor.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it gives a different viewpoint, quite frankly.
correct. I agree. So my first question is, does the FAIR plan offer any discounts for being a FireWise community? As Pleasants Valley Fire Safe Council area is a FireWise community, and I didn't hear that mentioned.
Because they just do the 50 up to 14.5% for home hardening and
Okay.
vegetation at this point. That may come
Okay.
into play, and I would think nothing of asking whoever wrote it if they are offering a discount.
Okay. My next question is more of a comment. You didn't mention anything about self-insurance.
So, okay, so I'm gonna say it. I've been asked this question quite a bit. I had my insurance for 30 years, and it was basically on average about $1,200 a year. Okay, we can all do the math on that. My claim was over 800,000. And I did not build a custom home. I did not do replacement. I didn't replace things because I didn't want to have to go through the challenges of, revisiting that list over and over and over again. So in my world, it doesn't make sense. A pooled source of self-insuring for communities they're looking into all that. But again, with these catastrophic losses, how much money can you put together in a short period of time? And, hoping like hell, I mean, how long would you have to do it for? 10 years, 20 years before you got enough stockpiled that if there was a loss, that it would make sense? So that's just my opinion on it. And how many more earning years do you have? I don't have that many more earning years. So if I don't have adequate insurance to replace my home, I now no longer can retire, right? I'm going to have rent, which is just outrageous now. You can't control any of the factors that will allow you financially to be secure. Not what you wanted to hear, huh?
No, no. But nonetheless, that kind of information needs to be put forth to all the community, because there are some people who actually do self-insure because they've reached a point where they have no mortgage on their home, they have enough assets, etc., to replace, what they can replace. And maybe they even would rather go for a smaller home and reach a stage of their life where smaller would be better.
Absolutely. And, one of the challenges in Coffee Park was that some people had had their home for many years and they wanted to downsize, but because they still had a mortgage, the mortgage company would not necessarily allow them to, because they had to secure the amount of the mortgage. And having a smaller footprint wouldn't necessarily do that. So
Gotcha.
having your home paid off and then having the ability to do that is always a nice option. And if you have the resources to know that you'll land on your feet, I think that's amazing. Flood insurance is now government run. There's a comment about, the federal government is self-insured. That's a big budget to work off of. You look at the Tubbs fire, the Nuns, the Atlas that night, we had 1,440 homes in Coffee Park. There is no self-insurance for that big of a catastrophe.
Yeah. Okay. So I've also looked at some of Laura's strategy, and I don't see anything about you know, number one, this state could reduce the 1% lumber tax that they charge on every stick of wood that's sold, that adds to that exponential cost of reconstruction.
Mhm.
In addition to maybe reducing some of the gas taxes in this state that also contribute to that high cost of reconstruction, everything. And one thing, Laura, is I don't know if the rest of the, you know, community is aware of all the different fees that the state of California puts on additional insurance policies. For example, workers' comp or contractors' liability, et cetera, et cetera. All those fees add up to a substantial amount of money that the state is collecting. For example, on a workers' comp policy, this state charges a fee where it covers a portion of somebody's claim who hired an unlicensed contractor, for example. And that's a law that should be enforced instead of charging licensed contractors fees on their policies. Do you understand what I'm getting at? All these various fees add
I
up to a lot of money.
I'm sure you're absolutely right. I'm not familiar with all of those. But I can tell you that we need a lot more oversight in the contractors world.
Well, we also need some oversight in all this insurance too.
Mhm.
And Laura is, he is in charge of it. And he's the one who could rescind these fees, etc. Right?
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. And alls I can really say, and this is my personal opinion, not a UP opinion, we have our wonderful Mike McGuire, who is slated to run for insurance commissioner the next go around because he's termed out as Senate. And we need someone new in there.
Yeah, we do.
All right.
Someone's going to be proactive. And we are out of time.
Annie, thank you so much for your presentation. If there are any other questions in regard to United policyholders, her information is in the chat. You all are welcome to, I know we're over time, but I'm going to do a quick roundtable because I know there are some people on here, like some of our partners that are on here that would love to give an update. So I'll go really quickly. I don't see Rochelle. Is there anyone from Green Valley? Nope. Okay. David Stevens?
No, I don't have anything. But Tina, if you could just let people know how they'll be able to get a copy of the link of the recording tonight so that we can get this more widely distributed. This is an incredible presentation. Annie, as Leanne said, this is the most thorough presentation we have seen on this topic yet, and we have had two other individuals from United Policyholder. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I
Uh,
appreciate the kind words. There
Let
is
me-
also a longer version on Supervisor Gore's website that I did a couple weeks ago. So if you want a little bit more in depth, it's there. And I'm going to sign off. You guys have a great rest of your meeting. And thank you for being so kind.
Thank you, Annie.
Take care.
I don't see Ralph from Glen Cove. Is there anyone else on Glen Cove that? Karen, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Is better?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Great. Okay. I am not from Glen Cove, but I have an update for Glen Cove.
Okay.
The application for Firewise certification came through at the on May 10th, Friday, May 10th.
Nice.
They became officially Firewise. So they're just waiting on their signs. Their certificate's going to be up on their website. It's going to be very exciting.
Yay. Thank you so much for that update, Karen.
Mhm.
I will text Ralph and congratulate him. Thank you.
Yep.
You're actually next on my list for
Okay.
our CD.
Should have just stayed unmuted. All right, so on my list, Glen Cove Firewise, got that one done. A few things since the last Solano Fire Safe Council meeting. Solano RCD held another one of our Prescribed Burn Association outreach meetings to explore the possibility of a Prescribed Burn Association in Solano County. The direction that effort will be moving is to merge with the Yolo County Prescribed Burn Association. So taking advantage of their pre-existing relationship with CAL FIRE and all of their training and equipment. Some of our staff will be completing firefighter type 2 training over the coming months to be better equipped to support prescribed burns in Solano County. And we are continuing to work with CAL FIRE and our local fire protection districts and fire departments to try to make this happen in a safe and reasonable way. Other things are actually related to that prescribed burn work. We are working with Yolo County RCD on a CAL FIRE planning grant that is having us doing planning and permitting for prescribed burning and grazing projects throughout the county. So we've been in touch with some of you already about properties that are higher fire risk. And some of you have sent us tips on other places to prioritize. We're still working on that and lining up sites. So if I haven't already talked with you about something and you know of a good spot, please send it my way. I'll put my email address in the chat box. And the last piece is you have probably heard a bunch of updates over the last year about our post LNU tree removal work in Pleasance Valley in the riparian areas. We are in contract with a forester on that, and we'll be getting that project kicking off here very shortly. I've got a meeting with the forester in less than 24 hours. So again, I'll put my email address in the chat box in case anybody has questions. And I have an answer for Leanne's, maybe it was Leanne's earlier request about, or maybe, oh, David, one of you had asked about how to get the video of this the recording of this meeting. The YouTube channel for the Solano Fire Safe Council is in the chat box. So I put a YouTube link in there a little while ago. That's where you can go to find the recording.
Thank you so much, Karen. Appreciate you. Appreciate you uploading that for us. I don't see Chief O'Connor, but Chief Alberzini.
Yeah, no, I'll keep it short. It's just seasons among us real quick here. Just mow early before 10 a.m. Just watch the weather. Be safe out there this year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chief Bengrol, are you on the line for CAL FIRE? Take that as a no. Tanya Meyer from YOLO Fire Safe Council. I don't see Tanya.
I was muted. I apologize.
Hey, Chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. Quick update from the CAL FIRE side here. We are obviously the fields are rapidly drying out. Obviously, the hills have started to brown, so we're started our traditional transition. We do it based on more of a what the weather presents now rather than set months or days. And so we have started to hire some seasonal staffing, opening some of our seasonal stations. Current snapshot is 10 engines, 6 fire crews, 3 bulldozers, 1 helicopter, 1 air attack, 1 air tanker. Our next upstaffing will be on June 17th, and we'll be adding additional resources, firefighters, aircraft at that point in time. And that's all from CAL FIRE. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you, Chief. You guys are staffing up. Thank you. So I don't see Tanya. Is Shari here from Napa Communities Firewise Foundation? Don't see her on my list here. And I apologize, I didn't put emergency services here. I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for you guys joining today. Also, just a quick 2 things. One thing, the Solano Fire Safe Council's Wildfire Community Preparedness Day event was successful, although the weather wasn't the greatest, but we did have a good turnout with assistance from vendors that are coming out or that came out, as well as you guys and the community. Really, really appreciated you guys coming out there. And then also our Solano County's Emergency Operations Plan, or EOP, was officially adopted and accepted by the Board of Supervisors last Tuesday. I received the signed resolution this morning, so we will be updating our website tomorrow. So that will be for public display on our website. And that's it. Thank you so much. Karen and I will be coordinating to send out the next meeting, and this video will be uploaded. Give me a couple minutes to download it from the cloud. Leanne, I'm sorry, you had a question? Go ahead. You're muted. Okay, there we go.
Sorry, I just got a message from Dave Kuntz at Vacaville Fire Protection District. They've been approved by FEMA to have access to the iPause system. It's an Amber Alert system, and there's only a couple steps left. One is the memorandum of understanding stated that they won't abuse it, etc., and purchase the software. So this will be very helpful for the Vacaville Fire Protection District area. An automatic Amber Alert that he can send out to all the folks in the area on that cell tower.
We will reach out to Chief Kuntz to get more information on that. Thank you, Leanne, for that update.
Okay, thanks.
Can I make a quick comment too? Excuse me. Hi, I'm Angela Kozad with Solano Cart, and I just wanted to remind everybody that the cart is active and ready for the season. We just finished our drill with OES and the Sheriff's Department. And so we are ready to assist you with any animal evacuations this coming year. We just wanted to remind you that this is a service that we offer. It's a volunteer organization, but it is available. And you can go to our website, solanocart.org, and our emergency number is listed there.
Thanks so much, Angela. Nice to see you on the call.
Nice to
But
see you.
everyone, thank you for staying over. I appreciate your time. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day.
Bye.
Thank you.